Hello, YouTube. Today I want to talk about my experience with agoraphobia, which by definition is the fear of wide open spaces. Which is another word saying the fear of the outdoors. I've always kind of had a fear of being outside from an early age. But I think it kind of began shortly after I got my first video game system, because I just enjoyed being indoors more than being outside. I remember one day, I think I was in maybe second grade, I was going to school. I started feeling really sick to my stomach that day. And on the way to school, on the bus and everything, I felt like I was going to throw up. And I didn't on the bus, but I think later that day, I think after I had lunch or something like that, I ended up throwing up. And I think from that point on, I kind of contributed it to just being away from home. I was homesick. But throughout my life, I've had periods of time where I wouldn't go outside. I mean, every day after school, I'd just come home and, do stuff at home. I would rarely go outside and hang out with friends. Most of the time alone. But, after high school, right after high school, is when my agoraphobia really kind of kicked in. Because I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't have any plan. I didn't have a job or anything. So I just basically, one time I was going to go out and look for a job. And it was a summer day. But I started getting really sweaty and started panicking really bad. And said I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go and look for a job. I was having a little panic attack, I think. And then for the next 2 years, I didn't leave my home. I mean, at the time I was still living with my parents, so they could, they took care of me for those 2 years. And I think that second year, I couldn't handle being at home. Well, no, for 2 years I just couldn't handle not having any money of my own. So I was like, I need a job. I really need a job so I can, make some money for myself. So I started, what did I do? I think I ended up mailing letters, I guess. I was basically was mailing letters and stuff and putting stamps on and everything. And I didn't make anything. I didn't really make any money because they were like, you gotta provide your own supplies and stuff. So I was like, no. I mean, spending money to make money just doesn't seem to make sense to me. So my mom was like, because they were working at they were paper carriers at the time. So they decided to get me a job as a paper carrier, which allowed me to get outside every day. And for about, 7 years, I was a paper carrier. So I got out every day. I mean, I didn't really do a whole lot outside after work, but I still was outside every day, so it got me out, I mean, I wasn't I wasn't completely agoraphobic, but I was also, I really had no social life outside, so I would pretty much, right when I'd get off work, I would pretty much go home. So and then my dad dies. And at the time, I was working with my dad because my mom had passed away a couple years before then, and maybe a year before that, my mom had a massive stroke, and I took over my mom's part of the job. Took over my mom's part of the job. So I was working with my dad, and then my dad passes away, and I become agoraphobic once again because, because I had no real reason to go out. Shortly after my dad passes away, I hook up with a girl online, and she decides to move in with me. And I take that back. Actually, I wasn't really agoraphobic because I would go out. I would go out with her from time to time. So actually, yeah. I guess I wasn't really agoraphobic then. But I still didn't like going outside. I hated going shopping. I mean, I'm very much the same way now. I really have no social life outside of my home, except for shopping and working. I'm a homebody. You know, I just never cared for being outdoors. You know, it was either I was afraid of being outdoors, or I just didn't like being outdoors. I don't like going outside. I mean, I don't know if that's because of my agoraphobia or my anxiety or what, but I just don't like being outside.